with that, let's start from the fundamental basic. What is search engine optimization? And the reason why I start here is because I want you guys to have a common baseline with me from the perspective of my lenses, as they call it. Borrow my eyes, my friend. Understand why I'm so excited when I talk about search. It's because search has empowered me and my life and my lifestyle and those of my successful students to the tune of millions of dollars. And it's sad that many digital practitioners cannot see what we see. It's sad that many more intelligent, more hardworking digital practitioners cannot see what we see. And that's because maybe we have a different perspective of what this is all about. So let me share with you my personal perspective. So first thing, let's get it straight. Today we are in an omni-channel world where you just don't really execute one type of acquisition strategy. You execute all acquisition strategies that work for you, both organic and paid. And as long as it's profitable, you keep doing it. And that's how you scale a business, by the way, whether local or global. But there's a big difference between the avenues that you have for paid advertising. And paid advertising is primarily inventory based. So in other words, you need to have enough inventory. When we say inventory, we mean eyeballs to see your paid ads. And there are many different channels that we can leverage for paid advertising. A lot of options, isn't it? Of course, the bigger boys from Facebook to Google. We have content networks like Outbrain and Taboola. We have native advertising from publishers, news websites, media sites with a lot of eyeballs as well, forums. We have arguably more inventory than you have money in the paid advertising area. But when it comes to organic traffic you cannot pay for, there are really not that many options. And arguably, the most powerful of them all is SEO. But why? Why is SEO one of the most effective, free, long-term traffic acquisition strategies available online? Let me give you an insight. The reason why it's one of the most powerful organic traffic strategies up to today, since the advent of the internet, is because it's one of those influences that influences at the search engine level. So it has to do with the search engine and the nature of the search engine as compared to, for example, a social media environment, the Facebooks, the TikTok, the Instagram. I'm sure many of you interact on multiple fronts with different social media channels. What is so special about the search engines? If you haven't figured out, the search engine is a very rare channel where you don't have a place called home. You don't really put a profile picture there. You don't just browse aimlessly on random content. You go to the search engines with a specific intent. So let's start by differentiating social media and the search engines. Difference is this. In the social media world, the driver is interest. In the search engine world, the driver is intent. And there's a huge difference between interest and intent when it comes to strategy, and especially being able to sort between people who have transactional intent, people who intend to buy, informational intent, people who intend to look for answers, or pure browsing intent, people who are just window shopping with no real intention to buy. It is fairly possible to differentiate and segment between different user intent via the search engines. A lot more difficult to do the same in social media because we don't really hint in the social media world our intent, do you? We can have an intent in our head. We don't necessarily articulate it via a social media channel. But every time we search, whether intentional or not, whether conscious or subconscious, we are conveying our intent. And for now, at least, in the traditional search engine, we are conveying our intent via words. So be US visa for Singapore citizens. When these words and phrases enter as a search term in the search engines, the intent is clear. The searcher is looking for a solution which is specifically related to US visas for Singapore citizens. The intent is crystal clear. The intent is not so crystal clear in social media for the simple reason there's very little user input on that site that allows you to look for an accurate solution. So with this opportunity, this tremendous opportunity out there, no wonder SEO is so popular and so revered. And ultimately, what is it all about? It's about the process of optimizing every single page on your website with the goal to increase the web page visibility and position on the search engine results page. By the way, when we say SERPs, what we mean is search engine results page. And that is basically the page that you see on Google with the 10 organic results and 4 paid ad results on top, below, and the Google Maps. We reference that page as a SERP, and we reference the order of the page as page 1 of the SERPs, page 2 of the SERPs, page 3 of the SERPs, so on and so forth. The search engines are far more sophisticated and intelligent, and by that I mean they apply artificial intelligence and machine learning, and the search engines have evolved from being a lexical, looking for literal matches of words, in favor of semantic search, which is all about understanding user intent. In addition, semantic search is a double-edged sword because it allows the search engines to identify quality content, but at the same time is able to now filter out or weed out poor quality content. So it can work for you or against you. And we also have a capability known as BERT, which is quite technical in nature, bidirectional encoder representations from transformers. And BERT is a model to be able to assess both rankings and featured snippets in search. And I will share with you the application of BERT a little bit more in one of the subsections of our training. And that's the reason why we need to very quickly move away from keyword-based SEO to topic-based SEO as soon as possible. Because if we don't do that, we're going to be stuck with very outdated approach, and the outdatedness will reflect very clearly in the SERPs, in the way you represent your listings and your content as well. Now, how about the benefits of SEO? The success of any SEO initiative should be measured based on the performance of the organic traffic it attracts in terms of quality of the leads, the quantity of sales, rather than just keyword rankings. It doesn't mean that keyword rankings are not important. It's typically important from the client perspective. It's also important from a monitoring perspective, but it doesn't pay the bills. Keyword rankings does not pay the bills. What pays the bills, what brings the revenues from a customer journey standpoint is the quality of the leads and the quantity of sales. As such, from an SEO perspective, businesses not only stand to gain more website visitors at zero cost, literally, right? Of course, if you count in your effort, there's a cost to it. But if you are a solopreneur and you're doing this for yourself, it's time that you're going to be spending. That's your opportunity cost. So zero cost outlay monthly, but the reward is more leads and sales for the business. The good news is, done correctly, the impact of a well-executed SEO initiative is usually permanent. This is absolutely true under the conditions that your competitors remain asleep, they don't update, they don't upgrade. It will be permanent. In my industry, flight training, that seems to be the case. There are new competitors cropping up and I know who they are, but they're just too weak from an SEO standpoint to be able to so quickly outrank me. And I know this because I'm tracking them. I know who they are. They are new competitors. They're new kids on the block in my industry, but they are still ways away from overtaking me in the coveted number one spot because I know things that they don't know. And they're coming in from a pure industry perspective, which is the reason why they even appear in the top 10. But when they're facing an incumbent like me, who is not only an industry practitioner, but also an SEO practitioner, they are facing fairly heavy competition. So the good news is that done correctly, the impact of a well-executed SEO initiative is usually permanent, resulting in consistent leads and sales over an extended period of time. And that's where the ROI is, ladies and gentlemen. The other aspect as well, when you plan a strategy for SEO, is that you need to understand people tend to view top ranked websites more favorably. Top positions therefore enjoy higher click-through rates, which means more traffic than lower positions. How much difference? As much as 10 to 1. For every one visitor that visits the page 1 number 10 website, you will attract 10 times the amount of visitors if you were page 1 number 1. There's also the brand experience, which a lot of people seem to not understand. Businesses with top position benefit from enhanced brand presence. In other words, there's the aura of this is a legitimate business that's on top of their game because they're on page 1. And FlightSchool.sg in particular has benefited tremendously from enhanced brand presence because we appear page 1 for majority of our queries. Last but not least, Google organic search traffic enjoys the highest conversion rates compared with other online traffic channels, whether it's paid search or paid ads or social media. Organic SEO traffic converts at a higher conversion rate. Something for you to sleep on tonight. So I want to show you just a few slides for inspiration. This one is showing you organic click-through rate breakdown by position. So position number 1, CTR is over 30%. In comparison, position 10 has a CTR of 3% on average. That's what I mentioned, 10 times the difference between position 1 and position 10. And this next graph answers a question: which advertising channels have the highest conversion rates? Number 1 is Google at over 8%, followed by Bing, who's also a search engine, at 7%, followed by Facebook, which is slightly under 5%, Instagram, Pinterest, and the rest of the social media channels, with YouTube at the lowest at 0.5%. Kind of hints to you the purpose of YouTube as an advertising channel, by the way. And we'll talk about that in a future training as well, because I do have new projects which will depend on YouTube advertising. Therefore, the idea of YouTube at a below 1% conversion rate is telling you simply not to use YouTube for sales acquisition, but to use YouTube for brand building, for awareness, and use YouTube at the start of the customer journey, where the interest and awareness is. Starts with a like on your channel, then you go for the opt-in, which to extract their email address, build the brand loyalty through content, and over time, essentially, then you convert down the line itself. Here's another perspective where Google scores the highest customer acquisition percentage by channel for the $1 to $199 shopping carts at a whopping 13.3%. So what does it tell you, right? It tells you that with the right keywords and the right topic, your customer very often is ready to buy, literally. And the good news is that, again, if you understand the ready to buy formula, you apply it, whether it's SEO or paid search, which is Google Ads, it works both ways. You can have amazing conversion, especially when it comes to branded keywords versus non-branded keywords. And we'll talk about that as we get along.